Today we are going to discuss about one chapter in the syllabus. The syllabus is alternating current. The short form of the alternating current is AC. What is the meaning of AC current? Why it is called as AC current? Or what is the difference between the AC and DC currents? These things we are going to discuss in this chapter. So, first of all, what is AC current? If you see the electric supply in our homes, in offices, and shopping malls, where you can see this arrangement of the electricity, the voltage always varies like a sine function with respect to time. The voltage supply varies as sine function with the time. If any voltage applied is varying as sine function with respect to time, that voltage is called alternating voltage. According to the Ohm's law, V is equal to IR. That means V is proportional to I. V and I both are directly proportional to each other. The current which is caused by this alternating voltage is called alternating current. What is the need to introduce this concept to the society? Initially, before the invention of AC, one current is there. What is this DC? Direct current. Direct current. Previously, in electrostatics and capacitors and remaining examples of Ohm's law, all these things, we have discussed about the direct current. The graph of the direct current will be like this. Straight line. Direct, no variations in the direction or no alternations in the direction. But for AC, the graph will be like this. With respect to the time interval, it is changing the direction. That is nothing but the alteration or alternating current. This is the graph of the AC. What is the need to introduce this AC concept? DC currents won't travel to the longer distances. If you have a wire of lengthy wire, so suppose this is the length of the wire and this is another wire which is having some length more. Let us say this length is L, this length is 2L. Whenever this L length conducting wire connected to a battery and this 2L lengthy wire is also connected to a battery, it is better to keep one plug key here. In those cases, see the length. Resistance is directly proportional to length. That means in this lengthy conductor, the time taken to reach the charge carriers from one end to another end will take more time. When means the charge carriers are the charged particles which are in this power supply, nothing but the battery, takes more time to travel. While they are traveling to the longer distances, they will lose the energy. That's why whenever a lengthy wire is connected to a battery, it is very difficult to get the same strength at the end. But in case of alternating currents, this one, the current can travel to the longer distances, longer distance travel. There will be no change in the strength of the electric field with respect to the AC fields. So these are the advantages of AC when compared to the DC. What are the objects we can see the DC current flow? Battery is the best example for the DC power source. AC power source, frequency generator. So the alternating current what we are experiencing in our homes and offices and the different areas where we are watching in our daily life, this AC current always possesses with some frequency. Now in this lesson, up to now we have discussed about the advantages of AC with respect to the DC. AC can travel to the longer distances, and if this is the case, the frequency is also generated within the AC current. Now if this AC current is traveling through different electrical instruments or different electrical objects like resistor, capacitor, inductor, how this AC current will behave and what are the equations of the voltage and average power consumed by the electrical equipments. Now we are going to discuss about these things with respect to the phase diagrams. Now we will see an AC voltage is applied to a resistor. What is the voltage through the resistor? Current through the resistor, maximum current, maximum voltage, and the RMS values of the currents and voltages. These all things we are going to observe now. For this purpose, let me check a circuit diagram for this. This is a resistor. And this resistor is connected to an AC source with some EMF. So the resistor, AC source. This AC source of variable frequency, this is the symbol of the variable frequency, is connected to a resistor. So AC current supplied to a resistor. Now, in the beginning of this chapter, I have given some point. The point is alternating voltage. That means whenever an alternating source is connected to any resistor or any capacitor or any inductor, the voltage produced is called alternating voltage. Alternating voltage is a function of sine with variable frequency with respect to time. Therefore, Ohm's law. What is Ohm's law? V is equal to IR. But in case of AC voltages, this equation changes like this. Vm sine omega t is equal to IR. Therefore, I am keeping I here and I am bringing R to the left hand side of the equation. Therefore, Vm by R into sine omega t is equal to I. So we can write V by R is equal to I and Vm by R is equal to Im. This is one equation we got and this is one equation. Let us say this is equation 1, this is equation 2. When compared these equations 1 and 2, voltage and current, when an AC voltage is supplied to a resistor, voltage and current both are in the same phase because they both are associated with the sine terms. If anyone is in the cos terms, then they both are out of phase, maybe lagging or maybe overcoming. These things we will discuss in the remaining objects when it is connected to the AC source. But for now, equation 1 and 2 refers the voltage, 2 refers the current, where Vm and Im are called as maximum voltage and maximum current. Maximum or peak voltage. Im also maximum or peak current. They both are in same phase because they both associate with the sine function. From 1 and 2, from equations 1 and 2, what we can say? Voltage and current are in phase. Maybe the amplitude difference will be there. Maximum current difference and the amplitude of the maximum voltage when you draw with respect to the VI graph, the diagram is called phasor diagram. The graph will be like this. Maybe this is Im, this is amplitudes may be different, but this I and V both are in the same phase. This is the way to represent the phase diagram, phase relation between the two physical quantities which can exist in the alternating current. These type of diagrams are called phasor diagrams. Phasor diagram means which shows the phase relation between two physical quantities that are associated with the alternating current. Now we got one equation, Vm is equal to Im by R. This is Ohm's law in AC current. In AC. So Ohm's law is valid for DC currents as well as AC currents. Now we will check whenever an alternating voltage is passing through the resistor. Not only the voltage drop, not only the current, there is a possibility for the power consumption by the resistor. So what is the instantaneous power? Power dissipated through resistor is equal to P is equal to, what is the formula of the power? I square R, because you are relating the I and R. We know that I is equal to Im sin omega t, and I am substituting this I value in this equation. Let us write this equation number 3. So therefore P is equal to Im square sin square omega t R. But in case of AC voltages, this is half cycle, this is full cycle. What is the power consumption did, or what is the power dissipated in the whole cycle, or the average power consumed in for a total cycle? How much it is, we are going to find out. That is nothing but the average power consumed in a complete cycle. So whenever it is like this, we can say it as 0, this is pi, this is 2 pi, and this axis is omega t. You can say like that. Maybe the amplitudes may be different, but the variation is common with respect to the pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, like that. And here we can write it is 3 pi. Now I am watching the now I am going to find out what is the average power consumed in the complete cycle. The average power consumed or dissipated. Average power consumed or dissipated in a complete cycle is equal to, this is the symbol. Any physical quantity kept in between these two type of brackets, that is nothing but the average value of that physical quantity. Means we are going to find out the average value. So therefore is equal to, average value of P is equal to average value of Im square sin square omega t r, or we can write Im square r sin square omega t. I am writing Im square r outside and I am finding the average value of sin square omega t is equal to average value of p. So therefore again average value of p is equal to Im square r into what is sin square omega t? 1 minus cos omega t by 2. Now I am going to find out the average value of this cos. Then what will be the answer? It will be like this. Average value of p is equal to Im square, sorry, this is Im square r into half into average value of 1 minus cos 2 omega t. So the average power consumption is like this. Im square r into half into 1 minus cos 2 omega t. Im square r into half into this is 1. What is the reason? Average value of cos theta is 0. Cos theta where is 0 to 90. If cos 0 is 1, cos 90 is 0 and cos 180 is minus 1. So average value in a complete cycle, the average value of cos theta over a complete cycle is 0. Therefore this whole becomes 0 and average value of 1 is 1. Therefore average power consumption is equal to Im square r into half, nothing but Im square r by 2. So we got that P is equal to I square r. When you compare these two equations, maybe let us write this is equation 4. This equation is already there in the previous one. R and R is okay when we can write I is equal to Im square by 2. Therefore, if you compare these two equations, we can write I square is equal to Im square by 2 and under root I square is equal to, I am applying the root on both sides, under root Im square by 2. Therefore, the square and root get cancelled. Therefore, I is equal to Im by root 2. 1 by root 2 is nothing but 0.707. Therefore, I is equal to 0.707 Im, where Im is maximum current. I is equal to Im by root 2 or nothing but 0.707 into maximum current. That's why this is called IRMS. Therefore, IRMS is equal to Im by root 2 or 0.707 Im. RMS is nothing but root mean square. Mean square. So this is root mean square current into 0.707 into maximum current. So the maximum current and maximum voltage which are related with the Ohm's law, then we are going to find out their values correspondingly. So therefore, power in terms of Im, we can get Im square r by 2 or I square r. Initially we have find out the Im and I values, IRMS with respect to the maximum current. Now we are going to find out the RMS voltage. RMS voltage is equal to V, that is nothing but Vm by root 2, that is nothing but 0.707 Vm, where Vm is maximum voltage or voltage amplitude where V is equal to V RMS current. Therefore, V is equal to V RMS, nothing but RMS voltage, where Vm is equal to maximum voltage or voltage amplitude. Now we are going to find out how this Ohm's law is valid in AC currents also, because in DC currents only voltage or potential difference. Here RMS current, maximum current, many new terms are derived. With respect to these maximum currents and RMS currents, can we find out the truthness of Ohm's law? Now we are going to check it. So what we got? Vm is equal to IMR. I am dividing with root 2 on both sides. Vm by root 2 is equal to Im by root 2 into R. Vm by root 2 is nothing but Vrms. Im by root 2 is nothing but Irms into R. So we can prove the Ohm's law in AC current with respect to the maximum voltage and maximum current, and from that we can find out RMS voltage and RMS current. This means that we got V is equal to Vm by root 2, where Vm is the maximum voltage. Now, what is this VRMS? RMS voltage is nothing but the, if you see the household voltages, what is the maximum voltage that should be used to run the electric appliances? What would be the maximum potential to the household purpose? 220 volts. We should not say that the 220 volts is the maximum voltage. That is RMS voltage. 220 volts is RMS voltage. The voltage value, what you are getting as a reading, that is an RMS value. But how much is the maximum value? Therefore, maximum voltage is equal to V into root 2, where V is 220 volts, where root 2 is 1.414, approximately we will get 311 volts. This is the maximum voltage. But we are not finding this much when we are using the electrical appliances in the domestic purpose. We are finding only this much. That means we are using the RMS value. We are finding the RMS value of the voltage. With respect to the RMS voltage, we are finding the RMS current, and when we are finding the remaining physical quantities which are associated with the alternating current. Suppose if V and Vm are rotated like this, what about the I and Im? There is a graph between, or a phase diagram between the RMS current and maximum current. The diagram is like this. Now we are going to find out what is the relationship between I and Im through graphical variation. This is I or IRMS. What about the remaining things? This is I max, and completely low minus I max. So this is IRMS current, this is I maximum current, and this is the peak variation, and nothing but the variation in the amplitude, and this is at the phase. Now we will see the phase. This is 0, this is pi, this is 2 pi, this is 3 pi, and along with the axis omega t. And here also this is 0, this is pi, this is 2 pi, and if you combine this, this is 3 pi. Like that, you can find out the variation in the phase diagrams. So both will be in the same phase, but only the change in amplitude. Previously we have discussed about the resistors case. Now we are going to see a case where an AC voltage is applied to a inductor. AC voltage applied to an inductor. So what is this inductor? What is the diagram? This is the diagram. Yeah, AC source of variable frequency is connected to an inductor. Inducting coil, you can watch this inducting coil in electromagnetic inductions and some of the examples of magnetic inductions like this. So this is an inducting coil having number of loops or number of turns. Whenever this inducting coil is connected to a variable frequency of the AC generator, then according to the Kirchhoff law, Kirchhoff's loop rule, around a loop the total potential is 0. So we can write sigma V with respect to time is 0. An association with time is 0 in a closed loop, in a loop. But what we can understand, this is inductor, this is the AC voltage. Through an inductor, the potential drop will be L into di by dt. Therefore, applied voltage minus potential drop across the inductor is 0. From this we can write V is equal to L into di by dt. And we can write V by L is equal to di by dt. Di by dt is nothing but rate of change in current. Now I am multiplying these two equations which are in the LHS and RHS with the dt and integrating. I am doing the integration. Multiplying with dt and integrating on both sides. What is the need to multiply with dt and integrating again? Integration gives us the wholesome result. Derivation gives us the result between the between a small element whenever a small current is passing through a small time interval. Now I am going to find out the total amount of the current that is passing through the circuit. For that purpose I am multiplying with dt and integrating. Therefore, V by L, for V by L dt into di by dt into dt. So what we can say? Dt and dt get cancelled. We can write V is equal to Vm sin omega t because voltage is varying in terms of the sign. That is the property of the AC voltage. Therefore, Vm sin omega t by L dt is equal to Vi. Now I am applying the sign convention. Now I am applying the integration for the whole equation. Let us write this equation like this. So on integrating, integral di is equal to integral Vm by L sin omega t dt. Integral di is I, Vm by L is constant, and integral sin omega t dt. Integral sin theta is, integral sin omega t is minus cos omega t by omega. Therefore, I is equal to Vm by L minus cos omega t by omega. So now these equations we will going to modify. So therefore, this is inductor. I is equal to Vm by L into minus cos omega t by omega plus constant, because after the integration the constant term is common in every integration. Therefore, I we can get Vm by omega L or minus Vm by omega L into cos omega t. What is cos omega t? Cos omega t is sin omega t plus pi by 2. So therefore, I is equal to minus Vm by omega L into sin omega t plus pi by 2. But here the minus symbol is there, that's why we can write I is equal to Vm by omega L into sin omega t minus pi by 2 plus constant. Here also plus constant, plus constant. Constant term is not required, but as far as the rules of the integration, we should add the constant term. So we got I is equal to Vm by omega L into sin omega t minus pi by 2. It is seems to be I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2, where Im is equal to Vm by omega L. Im is equal to Vm by omega L. What we can understand with this omega L? Actual equation of Im is Vm by R. In place of R we can write omega L. So what is this omega L? Omega L is nothing but the inductive reactance. Therefore, what is this omega L? Inductive reactance. The dimensions and units of this inductive reactance is similar to the resistance. This is similar to resistance. Then what we can understand with this R is equal to omega L, where R is equal to resistance, omega L is inductive reactance. That means omega L is nothing but resistance offered by the inductor. That is the very, very important term. In some textbooks we can see one term, resistance offered by inductor, resistance offered by a resistor. That means this omega L is inductive reactance. That is the correct physical term. If you want to elaborate this term to the known words, we can say that this is the resistance offered by the inductor. But one point we can observe, we should observe in this derivation is, we got I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. We know that V is equal to Vm sin omega t. V is equal to Vm sin omega t, I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. Then what we can understand, current lags by pi by 2 when an AC voltage is passing through the inductor. So we are going to find out the relationship and phasor diagram for these two physical quantities. Now we will see the phasor diagram between V and I when an AC current is passing through the inductor. We got that V is equal to Vm sin omega t, but I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. So this is the lagging, pi by 2 lags. Therefore, current lags by pi by 2 with respect to the voltage when compared to the voltage. Voltage in inductor. So when an AC current is applied to the inductor, the current passing through the inductor lags by pi by 2 with respect to the AC voltage passing through the same inductor. So what is the phasor diagram? The phasor diagram is like this. I is lagging. That means we can write this is V. But I is lagging means lag by pi by 2. So this is I lagging. This is 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. And this is also, so 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi. And first it is started from the negative scale. And the solution of this diagram is be like this. This is Vm sin omega t. This is Im sin omega t. This Im sin omega t is nothing but Im sin omega t minus pi by 2. So therefore, one peak top, one down top. So they are separated by a phase difference of pi by 2. If the phase difference is pi, they are out of phase. Pi by 2 means the time difference is t by 4. So we know that. Therefore, in case of complete cycle, here to here is pi, here to here is 2 pi. This is complete cycle. Up to 2 pi is called complete cycle. The time taken for the whole complete cycle, to complete a whole cycle, is capital T. For capital T is the time taken for the complete rotation, to cover the 2 pi phase. But here the phase difference is pi by 2. So what should we do? 2 pi by 4 is equal to T by 4. This is pi by 2. Therefore, phase difference pi by 2 always 1/4 of the given time. Therefore, T is equal to 2 pi by omega. This 2 pi should become pi by 2 by omega. There T becomes T by 4. This is the difference between the time period differences for this phase difference. Now we will see the average power consumed. What is the instantaneous power that is dissipated in an inductor? Instantaneous power. Power dissipated in inductor. PL is equal to, we can write I into VL. We know that I is equal to Im sin omega t minus pi by 2 into what is VL? Vm sin omega t. Where sin omega t minus pi by 2 is nothing but minus cos omega t. Therefore, we can write Im minus Im cos omega t into Vm sin omega t minus Im Vm cos omega t sin omega t. We know that 2 sin theta cos theta is equal to sin 2 theta. Therefore, I am to get that form, I am multiplying with 2 and dividing with 2. Therefore, the equation will be driven like this. PL is equal to minus Im Vm by 2 into sin 2 omega t. What is why we are writing sin 2 omega t? Sin 2 omega t is nothing but the 2 cos omega t sin omega t. Therefore, PL is equal to minus Im Vm by 2 into 2 sin omega t cos omega t. Now we are going to find out the average power consumed in a complete cycle. This is the power consumed in instantaneous. At one particular point, what is the instantaneous current, what is the maximum current, what is the maximum voltage, what is the phase differences between the current and voltages. We have applied like this. Now we will going to see the average power consumption over a complete cycle when an AC current is passing through the inductor. Now we will see the average power. Average power. Symbol is like this. PL means average power through inductor. Therefore, minus Im Vm by 2 into sine 2 omega t. Therefore, average value of power consumed through inductor is minus Im Vm by 2 into average of sine 2 omega t. The average value of sine theta is 0. Therefore, Im Vm by 2 into 0, 0. So, the average power supplied to an inductor over a complete cycle is 0. The average power supplied to an inductor over a complete cycle is 0. We got the result. So, this is the information about the average power, phasor diagram and its solutions. Now, we will see one problem which is related to the power consumption, resistance, peak voltage and RMS current. See, the problem's statement is like this. A light bulb is rated 100 watts, means the power consumption by the light bulb material is 100 watts for a 220 volts supply. The voltage supplied to that power of the bulb is 220 volts. Then, with regard of this information, we should find out the resistance of the bulb R, the peak voltage of the source V, M and the RMS current through the bulb. It follows these steps. First one, what is the power? 100 watts. What is the voltage supply? 220 volts. First bit, the resistance of the bulb. Resistance of the bulb. What is the relationship between P, V, R? We know that P is equal to Vi and I am converting I is equal to V by R. Therefore, P is equal to V square by R. From this expression we can write R is equal to V square by P. So, V is there, P is there. If we substituted these two values from the given information, we can find out the R. Sometimes we need to modify the standard formulas to get these values. So, modification was over, modified is over, then we should find out the R. Therefore, R is equal to V 220 and V square means 220 square by P 100. 484.00 by 100 cancel. Therefore, R is equal to 484 ohms. First bit was over. See the second bit, the peak voltage of the source. Peak voltage. Nothing but Vm. We know that Vrms is equal to Vm by root 2. Therefore, Vm is equal to Vrms into root 2. What is the Vrms value? 220 volts. What is root 2? 1.414. Therefore, V max or peak voltage is 311 volts. The last bit is RMS current through the bulb. The last bit of the problem, RMS current. We know that P is equal to IV. Therefore, I is equal to P by V. So, what is the P? 100. What is the RMS voltage? 220. 10 by 22, approximately we will get 0.450 amperes. This is RMS current through the bulb. Now we will see one problem which is related to the inductors. A pure inductor of 25 millihenry, the SI unit of the inductance is Henry, okay, is connected to a source of 220 volts, voltage is 220. Find the inductive reactance and RMS current in the circuit if the frequency of the source is 50 Hz. The answer is like this. First write down what are the physical quantities present in the problem. Inductor of 25 millihenry. Nothing but 25 into 10 to the power of minus 300. Source of voltage 220 volts. Find the inductive reactance. Omega L is equal to XL is equal to how much? Where XL is nothing but the inductive reactance, and RMS current, IRMS. These two we should find out. Now, how to solve this one? First of all, we are going to find out the inductive reactance. Therefore, XL is equal to omega L, where omega is equal to 2 pi F. F means frequency. The frequency is 50 Hz. Therefore, 2 into pi is equal to 3.14. Frequency is 50 Hz and inductance is equal to 25 into 10 to the power of minus 3. If you substitute all the things, 2 into 50, 100, 100 into 25, 2500, 2500 into 3.14 by 1000, we will get 7.85 ohms. This is the inductive reactance. We know that inductive reactance is similar to the resistance in dimensions and units. This is 7.85. What is the next bit to find out? RMS current. IRMS is equal to VRMS by inductive reactance. Inductive reactance. Therefore, IRMS is equal to, what is VRMS? 220 volts. Inductive reactance 7.85 ohms. We will get 28 amperes. So these are the values which we are find with the given information. Now we will see the behavior of AC voltage which is applied to a capacitor. AC voltage applied to a capacitor. Take a parallel plate capacitor which is connected to a AC source. Now, what is the purpose of the capacitor? Capacitor always stores the charge. We know that the capacitance is equal to QV, therefore the voltage across the capacitor is, we know that Q by C. Therefore, according to the Kirchhoff's loop rule, we can say that summation over voltage with respect to time is 0. Loop rule. We are applying this 0 to the capacitance. Therefore, we know that V is equal to Q by C. V is equal to Vm sin omega t is equal to Q by C. From this we can write Q is equal to CVm sin omega t. Current I is equal to dq by dt. Therefore, I am finding the I by differentiating the Q value with respect to time. CVm sin omega t. Now, the differentiation will be like this. The thing is that I is equal to d by dt of Cm omega t. What is sin omega t? Omega cos omega t. Therefore, omega c Vm cos omega t. We can write I is equal to omega c Vm cos omega t is equal to, we can write sin omega t plus pi by 2. And we can write I is equal to omega c Vm sin omega t plus pi by 2. Continue. Now we can write I is equal to Im sin omega t plus pi by 2. I am comparing this Im with omega c Vm. Therefore, Im is equal to omega c Vm. We should write Im is equal to Vm by R. Therefore, I am transforming to that form Vm by 1 by omega c. Vm by, what is this 1 by omega c? It is in the place of resistance, but in case of capacitors, it is called as capacitive reactance. Capacitive reactance. Therefore, the symbol of the capacitance reactive is XC is equal to 1 by omega c. One important thing we should note in this question is we got V is equal to Vm sin omega t, but I is equal to Im sin omega t plus pi by 2. Here, voltage lags by pi by 2 with respect to the current. That means, or we can write current leads by pi by 2 with respect to the AC voltage through capacitors. Now we will see write this solution, write this relation as well as the phasor diagram and power concept. Now we will see the phase relationship. We got V is equal to Vm sin omega t, but we got I is equal to Im sin omega t plus pi by 2 through the capacitor. So current leads by pi by 2 with respect to the voltage when an AC voltage is passing through the capacitor. So what is the phasor diagram? Or we can write current leads by pi by 2 when compared to voltage. Voltage when an AC voltage is supplied to a capacitor. Voltage is supplied to the capacitor. Now, what is the phasor diagram? It will be like this. let us write this is V, but current leads by pi by 2. Therefore, from here onwards we can write I. This is I. So therefore it is 0, pi, 2 pi, 3 pi, 4 pi through omega t as an axis. So it is like this. So here it is 0, here it is pi, here it is 2 pi, here it is 3 pi, and continued. So this is the phasor diagram solution and phasor diagram representation of V and I when an AC voltage is passing through the capacitors. Now we should find out the power consumption in the capacitor when an AC voltage is passing through it. Now the instantaneous power dissipated in capacitor, dissipated in capacitor. We can write PC is equal to IVC. What is I? I sine or Im sine omega t plus pi by 2. Vc is nothing but Vm sine omega t. Therefore, we can write Im Vm sine omega t plus 5 by 2 is cos omega t into sine omega t is equal to Pc. Therefore, Im Vm cos omega t into sine omega t, again we are multiplying with 2 cos omega t sine omega t dividing with 2. Therefore, we can write Pc is equal to Im Vm by 2 into 2 cos omega t sin omega t is nothing but sin 2 omega t. This is the expression for the instantaneous power dissipated in capacitor. But what is the power consumed or power supplied to a capacitor over a complete cycle, we are going to find now. Now the average power consumption. Average power supplied to a capacitor over a complete cycle is equal to average value of Pc is equal to Im Vm by 2 into average value of sin 2 omega t. Now average value of power through C is equal to Im Vm by 2 into average value of sin theta is 0. Therefore, Pc is equal to 0. So here also, like inductor, average power supplied to a capacitor over a complete cycle is 0 from this result. In inductor it is 0, in capacitor it is 0, but in case of resistors it is not 0. It has some particular positive magnitude. These are all the related things and the phasor diagrams of the resistors, capacitors and inductor. Now we will see one problem based on the capacitive reactance. See this problem. The problem contains content like this. A 15 microfarad capacitor, the capacitance of the capacitor is 15 microfarad, is connected to a 220 volts and 50 hertz source. Find the capacitive reactance and the current, RMS and peak, both we should find out in the circuit. If the frequency is doubled, what happens to the capacitive reactance and the current? What are the contents? We have capacitance is 15 microfarad, 15 into 10 to the power of minus 6 farad. Voltage 220 frequency 50 hertz. In some textbook, frequency is denoted by like this also. So we can use the standard symbols. Next, these are the given values. Now we should find out the capacitive reactance. What is the expression for the capacitive reactance? Xc is equal to 1 by omega c, where Xc is equal to 1 by omega is nothing but 2 pi f into c. Therefore 1 by 2 into pi is 3.14. Frequency is 50 hertz. The capacitance is 15 microfarad. Therefore 15 into 10 power minus 6. This 10 power minus 6 goes up. Now the answer of this solution is like this. Therefore we will get Xc is equal to, after solution this one, to 12 ohms. This is the capacitive reactance. Okay, first bit was over. Second one, current, RMS and peak. We should find out the RMS and peak. Now we are finding the IRMS. The formula is V by XC. VRMS voltage is 220 volts. XC is capacitive reactance. This means 212. Answer is 1.04 ampere. This is the RMS current. What is the peak current? IRMS into root 2. Already we got IRMS is 1.04, root 2 is 1.414. So when you solve this 1.414 into 1.04, we will get 1.47 amperes. This is I peak. Peak means positive scale to negative scale. The positive scale current value is 1.47. Same negative scale value you will get minus 1.47. That means the peak current oscillates between minus 1.47 to plus 1.47 by having the leading of pi by 2 with respect to the voltage. Up to here we have found out all the values, but there is a condition was given in the problem. The condition of the problem is, if the frequency is doubled, what happens to the capacitive reactance and the current? See, frequency Xc is capacitive reactance. The formula is 1 by 2 pi Fc. Here he is saying frequency is doubled. Means if frequency is doubled means F becomes 2F. Xc is inversely proportional to frequency. If F is doubled, Xc will become half. So if F becomes double, capacitive reactance will become half or halved. It becomes half. So that is the thing which will happen to the capacitive reactance. So if frequency doubles, capacitive reactance becomes half of the original or halved. What about the current? We got that I is equal to V by Xc. Xc becomes half, that means current will become twice. So if Xc is half, these two are related, therefore current will becomes double of the original. So if frequency is doubled, capacitive reactance becomes half and current becomes double of the original. Now we will see the phasor diagram solution. What is the meaning of phase diagram or phasor diagram? Which relates the phase difference between voltage through capacitor, voltage through inductor, voltage through resistors with respect to the current through these three. So yesterday means suppose Vi through resistor they are in phase. Means VR IR. If you go to the inductor, I lags by V. If you go to the capacitor, I leads by V. So we are going to find out the solution for these three phase relations. For that purpose, we should use the graphical solution. What is the graphical solution? The diagram will be like this first. Just draw an axis. First of all, VR and I both are in the same direction. I, VR. Now it is VC. This is VL. V leads by I here and V lags by I here in the case of C. I wrote in terms of IV and the graph represents the relation between V and I. What is the equivalent circuit of this one? Or equivalent diagram of this one? It will be like this. This is V and this is VR. This is VC plus VL. This gap is VCM minus VLM. Now it creates an triangular shape with respect to phi, and we know that V is equal to VR plus VC plus VL. Vm is equal to IMR. VC is equal to IMXC. VL is equal to IMXL. Means voltage, the total voltage of the circuit is equal to the sum of the voltages of the each and every electrical appliance. Means RCL, LCR, voltage through inductor plus voltage through capacitor plus voltage through resistor is equal to applied voltage. This is in terms of the Ohm's law I have written. Now we are going to find out that VRM square plus VCM plus VLM whole square. VRM square plus VCM plus VLM whole square. Therefore, V is equal to under root VRM square plus VCM minus VLM whole square. What is this VRM? VRM is equal to VM is equal to IMR. Whole square plus VC is equal to IMXC. VLM is equal to IMXL whole square. So IM we can take common. We can write R square plus XC minus XL whole square is equal to V. IM is equal to V by R. This is equal to the R. And what is this R when compared to the all equipments in the circuit? We are going to see now. Now the solution to be continued. We got IM is equal to VM by under root R square plus XC minus XL whole square. According to Ohm's law, Im is equal to Vm by R. From these two equations, the denominator under root R square plus Xc minus XL whole square is similar to the resistance. But if it is a single one, we can say it as a resistance. It is a combination of capacitor, inductor and resistor. That's why we can say it as mechanical impedance. Therefore, R is equal to, R is similar to under root R square plus Xc minus XL whole square. So this is similar to mechanical impedance. Z is equal to under root R square plus Xc minus XL whole square, where Z is equal to mechanical impedance. For a single one, we can say it as a resistor. For a combination, we can say it as a impedance. Therefore, what is the expression we got? Z is equal to R square plus Xc minus XL whole square. I can write this one like this. Z square is equal to R square plus Xc minus XL whole square. Then try to compare this one with like this. X square plus Y square. So, how to point out these three things in a triangular shape with respect to the phi angle like this. Z square is in the place of hypotenuse, that's why this is hypotenuse. Z. In the place of X we have R, and in the place of Y we have Xc minus XL. The difference between them is phi. So, if this is the case, if Xc minus XL is equal to 0, we can write Z is equal to R. Means capacitive reactance is equal to the inductive reactance, then the total mechanical impedance of the circuit will become to the resistance of the circuit. If we can say that like this. If Xc is greater than XL, means capacitive reactance is greater than the inductive reactance, the circuit will act as a capacitive circuit. The circuit is capacitive. If Xc less than XL or XL greater than Xc, means inductive reactance is greater than the capacitive reactance, the circuit is inductive. If Xc is equal to L, we already got that circuit is resistive. L, the circuit is resistive. Therefore, we have got a relationship like this. This is phi, this is Z, this is R, and this is Xc minus XL. From this triangle, we can write tan phi is equal to opposite by adjacent, Xc minus XL by R. Therefore, phi is equal to tan inverse Xc minus XL by R, which gives the information about the phase difference between the capacitor and inductor with respect to the resistance. So, this solution is called steady state solution. So, in this phasor diagram solution, up to now we have find about the Z value, relationship of Z with respect to the R and Xc minus XL with respect to the pi, and the XC greater than XL conditions, XL greater than XC conditions, and XC is equal to XL conditions, how the resistance will change. These all things we have found out. But the solution we have got in these terms is called steady state solution. What is the reason? A phasor diagram solution, it doesn't ask about the initial state of the condition. Means, suppose this is an equation which is a combination of inductor, capacitor and resistance. When these three are connected in a series to a power source, nothing but the AC source, capacitor charges, which keeps the charge inside and which stores the energy inside. Inductor behaves like a magnetic field and resistance opposes the flow of the field. Means three objects, three devices which are connected in the circuit behaves differently. So steady state solution means we are not at all considering what is their effects in the solution. We are simply considering the initial stages and what are the equation parts. So this is a steady state solution, means all are simply connected in a circuit. We are not at all caring about the effects on the solution, effects with respect to the L and C and R. So this is valid in the case of steady states at t is equal to 0. As time goes on, capacitor charges, impedance produces the magnetic field, opposes the field. R is opposes the field. Then there is a possibility in the resultant voltage. Now we are going to find out that voltage. The solution is called analytic solution of LCR circuit. Now we will see analytical solution of an LCR circuit. The question is AC voltage applied to a series LCR circuit. What will be the current and what will be the remaining things we are going to find out. First, we should draw an LCR circuit which is in a series combination to the AC source. This is the AC source. Now it is a inductor. One capacitor. Next, one resistor. L, C, R. This is an AC source. These three are connected in a series and which was closed with the AC power source. Now we are going to find out the analytical solution of it. We know that if an AC current is passing through the inductor, the potential drop here is L into di by dt because it produces the induced current and induced fields. In capacitor, V is equal to Q by C. Through resistor, IR. The sum of all these potentials is equal to Vm sin omega t. Therefore, what we can write? We can write like this. L into di by dt plus, this was capacitor, Q by C plus IR is equal to V, and we know that L into di by dt plus Q by C plus IR is equal to Vm sin omega t. We know that I is equal to dq by dt. What is di by dt? D square q by dt square. Because I is equal to dq by dt, di by dt is nothing but the differentiating the dq by dt again. So d by dt of it is nothing but d by dt of dq by dt. Means this is an equation. We are transforming the whole equation into the terms of charge. Therefore, this equation turns to like this: L into d square q by dt square plus q by c means 1 by c into q plus IR means R into what is I? dq by dt is equal to Vm sin omega t. If you see the LHS of this analytical equation, all are in terms of q. It is almost equal to ax square plus bx plus c, like that. So it is a quadratic equation in terms of q. It's a second order equation in terms of q. Now we should find out the solution of the q. And that solution will be substituted in each and every term. Then we will get an analytical result. For that purpose, I am writing q is equal to qm into sine omega t plus phi. So I am finding the dq by dt, d square q by dt square. Then we should substitute in whole equation. Let us write this equation is 1. So if q is equal to qm into sine omega t plus phi, what about dq by dt? d by dt of qm into sine omega t plus phi. The answer is omega qm into cos omega t plus phi. This is dq by dt. And what about the d square q by dt square? Means d by dt of dq by dt. Therefore, the answer is d by dt of, what is dq by dt? Omega qm into cos omega t plus phi. The answer is cos omega t minus omega sin omega t minus omega into omega minus omega square. Qm sin omega t plus phi. Now I am substituting this equation A and equation B in equation 1. Therefore, the equation we got is L into d square q by dt square plus R into dq by dt plus q by c is equal to Vm sin omega t.